Are you getting yourself ready for our show?
Guys, it's Tuesday, Jigs and Bigs, another episode for you. We have a great one this week. This week's a special one because we're recording on location at Bass Cabin 189 here in right on the St. Albans Bay of Lake Champlain. And we've got lots and lots and lots to talk about this week. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss out on all the good stuff we've got. We're going to review what we've been doing up here. We're also going to talk about a really great surprise that I was lucky enough. I got a huge surprise this week, and I want to thank a bunch of people for that, too. We've got all kinds of... something took a turn last night that we have to discuss in detail. And, of course, we have a guest for you, but this week is a brand new guest, and a guest I've never had on the show, but I've known for my entire life. It's my dad. It's Papa Roast Beef. So we're going to get to know a little bit, get to figure out a little bit about his background in terms of fishing and stuff and his likes and dislikes and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're going to have a great show, guys. Go ahead, get yourselves comfortable. We have something amazing for you. Grab yourself a tasty beverage. And if you're one of our amazing jig heads, our patron subscribers, and you're watching this live stream right now, feel free to chime in. It's about to get crazy. Right after this, we'll be right back with just a quick message. Okay, guys, here we are. We've got Jigs and Bigs here live on location. We're at Lake Champlain, having ourselves a time. One hell of a time, in fact. I've got Shawn the Fisherman with me. How are you, Shawn? And I've got my dad, the OG Bob Charette, in the house. This is awesome. This is going to be great. We're going to have a good time. My dad and I had the most amazing experience on Lake Champlain yesterday. We're going to talk all about that good stuff. Shawn, how are you today, buddy?
I'm good, man. This is what, in the 2 years we've been doing this is the third time I think we've actually done an in-person recording. There was a trifecta this year.
Yep.
Now, and then we had one with Chronic Trips at my house.
Yeah.
3 times, man. Third time's a charm, baby.
Third time is a charm. You might want to move that mic a little closer to you.
I'm sorry, am I yelling?
No problem. No. You're not. But I got to turn you up so high that it's cutting these out.
I don't want to be any higher.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's go ahead and do this. First off, I got to call attention. We got Hooked Up North. Says what's up, gentlemen? We're just here. We're living our best lives. We're living our best lives, man. We got Jerry Howe says hello, and then Chris Pendergast. He jumps in with the Where's the Shower Curtain, which ties into what I was talking about, how things took a turn last night. It was amazing. We'll talk about that shower curtain and the whole deal behind that in just a bit. But man, we've got some good stuff for you. Let's explain the whole story. Like, why are we here? What's this all about? Why are we in Lake? Why are we in Vermont? Did we move? Have we relocated? Is this the new Jigs and Bigs studio on the water? No, it's not. Sadly, it's not. No, we're staying at Bass Cabin 189. You can look up Bass Cabin 189 on Instagram. And this place is amazing. I did a short story on our Instagram yesterday, kind of breaking down some of the stuff. But we've been just doing a long weekend here is what it's been. Came up on Friday, had ourselves a good time getting settled and everything. Went out and fished on Saturday. Fished today as well. And it's just been really awesome. Rented this place on Vrbo, VRBO, Vacation Rentals by Owner. That's where we found this place, and it happens to be owned by someone from our neck of the woods, Ian Mulanowskis, and it's, working with him has been great. Absolutely. Thank you, Ian, for everything. Not only has the hospitality and the digs been amazing, but getting out on the water with you was a whole lot of fun too. We had a great time. So let's talk. All right. We came up here on Friday. We're in the throes of a Jigs and Bigs monthly online CPR nationwide tournament right now. And, the expectations were, I don't even want to say the expectations. That's not the right word. Let's just say the wish list of things that we wanted to check off was substantial, and this body of water has the potential to deliver over and over again. I mean, it is an amazing experience. But should I go through my week, or not? I mean, the week has been nothing in comparison. It's all been building up to this trip. Let's start with Tuesday.
Why don't we start with Tuesday?
Let's start with Tuesday. First off, I want to say this. Any of our jig heads that are watching right now, check this jersey out. This hockey jersey right here that I'm wearing with the Captain C, by the way. I should model it. I'm going to fall.
Do your little turn on the catwalk.
See? Roast beef with the year. And this was a gift from basically the extended Jigs and Bigs family. It was really awesome. And Shawn the Fisherman was behind all of this. And why don't you tell the tale?
I'm a sneaky motherfucker.
It's true.
I am. So, oh man, when did we cook this up? I cooked this up like a couple months ago, I think. So I got Damien from Stretching Lines involved. I got Wild Bill and the Hookset Hoodlums involved. I got Three Bells involved. I got Old Glory involved. And here's the game plan. The game plan was, you've really been the voice of everyone for all of our group. You really have, man.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Bobby's birthday's coming up. Let's get him something nice. I, of course, gave our good friends at Mantis Graphics a call to see what they could do.
Of course.
And then in the back of my mind, I said, well, if me and you are going to be a couple for Halloween this year, we got to go with Jay and Silent Bob. And Kevin Smith has worn a hockey jersey or two in his day.
Yeah.
Well, things went that way. Mantis said they could do it. I said, well, look, let's get the Jigs and Bigs logo. I want the Captain C on there because, by God, if anybody's a captain of this ship, it's you.
Yep.
And then I just arranged for everybody to be at a trivia night. And obviously, it was the middle of the week. Shit came up for some people.
Oh, yeah.
Life came up.
It's tough.
But we had a good showing.
We did. We had 2 full tables.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we had Lauren and Derek and John from Three Bells had come down, and which is awesome. I love seeing the Three Bells fam. They're awesome. We also had Cheryl, outdoor.
Yes.
Northeast Wild Woman was there. And it was nice to finally actually meet Cheryl in person. Awesome. Of course, Shawn the Fisherman was in the house. We had Wild Bill and Loaded Potato was with us. Awesome. So I walk in to this motley crew sitting quite literally right underneath the perch where I host trivia at Plan B in Springfield. And I come walking in and they all jump out of their seats and start singing Happy Birthday. And I'm like, you sons of bitches.
To quote the great Bill Russell when talking about block shots into turnovers.
Yep.
Yes, we did that to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's accurate. So, that was just like the kickoff. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I got something that I gotta wear to represent here. This is amazing, one of a kind, and I'm just blown away. Totally humbled. Like, amazing folks. Like, just absolutely awesome. I love you all. You're great. So the rest of the week for me was a lot of prep, getting things ready and in place for this big trip. It was the first long trip for the Titan 13.5. Did not put it on the water for safety reasons this weekend because it was a windy bitch all weekend long. Probably a situation that I really would have gotten myself into some trouble with had I taken that boat out. But I did get out on the water. The plan was that I would arrive on Friday with my dad. We'd set up camp, get things sort of organized. Of course, Nelson came up with Shawn. They came up later that evening and got settled in, and we got up and we fished on Saturday morning. And we both did 2 totally different types of strategies. Shawn stayed true to the plan. The plan, and for those of you that aren't aware, we did record a planning video on last Monday, where it was basically Shawn and myself looking at topographical maps, Google Earth, things like this, and kind of coming up with a strategy here. Now, knowing that I had in full intentions of getting out on a bass boat with Ian, the owner of Bass Cabin 189. Follow them on Instagram. With Ian that morning, we had gone out and we hit. I think we did 42 miles of this lake. After I looked at the areas that we had kind of charted ballpark. I mean, we did a lot. Fished a lot of different areas and a lot of rocky stuff. I got beaten up in this boat. Oh, wow. But man, it was wild. It was an amazing ride. Dad, you got on some freaking hogs. And not only that, it didn't even dawn on me. Ian pointed this out. 4, 5 huge fish. One largemouth and all the rest were smallies. Giants on one single Ned rig that he did not snag anywhere. Not a snag, nothing. And the bait, it was a Guggen rattling Ned. 5 monster catches on the same plastic. Unbelievable. Excellent job, Dad. And of course, there's pictures that have been posted over at our Instagram that you can check out. And there's going to be more and more stuff coming. We've got some videos and things. And Shawn, why don't you cover your Saturday? How did your Saturday go?
Nelson and I woke up. We had a nice leisurely morning. We drank our coffee and dawdled, I guess. Well, you guys had left earlier, so we ended up going to the launch that was actually nearest to the cabin here. Mm-hmm. Public launch, little park nearby. It turns out that we did not know if we were going to be able to launch from the cabin with the kayaks, and unfortunately there was a little bit of a steep drop, and we didn't feel safe with it, especially with me and my knees. And I said, let's just go over to actually what would have been the starting point for anybody who did watch that video. It would have been the tip of the spear. Yeah,
it would have. It absolutely would have.
And we ended up starting there, and right when we got in the water, ramp. I'll tell you what, I didn't mention this. Ramp was a little dangerous, very algae covered, and it was windy. So when you had just mentioned that you brought the Titan up and didn't get it out of the water, with this being what it would have been your second time out there, right, with the Titan?
This would have been my third time out.
Third time, okay. Yeah. So
even then, yeah,
going into the 20. I mean, it was a solid 20-mile-an-hour wind plus gusts that were 25 to 30. I mean, honestly, it was nuts. Nelson and I got out and we started just cutting the place to ribbons. Mm-hmm. It took him a little while longer than me to get on fish, but I think I was on the water 15 minutes and I hooked into a 19-inch smallmouth. So, all right, that was good.
That's not bad.
And then we ran from there. And again, I mean, I don't want to spoil too much because we are going to be doing a part 2 to that video, but we had a game plan.
Yep.
And I found fish really at the first stop of the game plan, and we didn't have to go any further. Plus, we also discovered that the path that we drew out really was dependent on what there was for weed growth, which I had no idea about.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot of speculating when we did that initial map, of course.
Yeah, there's never, as we discussed last week, you never just go to a place and say, I'm going to do this right here, because you don't know. No, we got out there. We started, because we weren't in a tournament. It was just me and Nelson fishing, and we acted like a team to help each other catch fish. It's like, all right, well, I saw this here. I got a bump on this. I got a hit on that, blah, 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 whatever. And throughout the first day, I turned up a dozen fish, and honestly, the smallest two, I think, were 14 and 15, both with change. And after that, I think the next smallest was like 18 inches or 17 inches, right? I mean, I had a big fish weekend. This was really awesome.
You had an all-star weekend.
Yeah, so we a lot of my fish went into the Jigs and Bigs tournament. I really cleaned up that NE5 with. Let's put it this way: the biggest smallmouth of the tournament I put in my NE5 because with the strategy, and I know normally we talk about the tournaments later on, but I think this was important. The first smallmouth that I caught was 19 and a quarter, and that took the lead substantially in that category.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later, really 20 minutes later, I caught a 19.75. So I caught one that was almost 20. And I didn't want to throw that fish away. I didn't want to blow up the 19.25, so I put it in the NE5 category, and it's still there. But now it's the smallest fish in the 85 because I got 4.
Which is amazing.
I got 4. Yeah, I got 4 really good pike.
How often are you culling a 19?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Well,
crazy.
When you fish pike lakes.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and one pike count, but
Yeah.
it's so funny. We talk to a lot of anglers around here in the area, and I mean, this is very bass forward. Like a lot of folks are. This is a bass fishery right here. It really is. But Champlain has so much to offer. Not only are there just monster pike, which, I mean, I had a follow just swimming a jig back right to the boat yesterday, and I made like that awkward kind of eye contact with this northern pike, and he turned away so fast, like, you fat bearded son of a bitch, I'm out of here. And oh god, Ian caught one. At the end, he caught one, and it's funny. Like a lot of folks, they just kind of like turn their nose up at the multi-species stuff, but this place is amazing. You got walleye out there. You have a ton of fish. Lake trout, of course. I mean, tons and tons of species. And I didn't even realize that this was an alewife body of water.
Yeah,
So the baits, when he was telling me colors that I should have on hand, are not things that I've got at home. Not things that I typically fish with.
I keep a lot of stuff that's like chrome and blue, just in case. I don't use them at any place other than bodies of water with alewives. But I have them because I've learned a lot of lessons over the past, 10 plus years of.
I wish I had connected the dots
Yeah.
when he told me the colors and been like, oh, okay, all right, so it must be like an alewife thing. But
yeah, they were in there, and honestly though, everything I caught, every fish I caught was on a chatterbait, and it was a perch colored chatterbait, so they were eating perch too. I mean. Yep. Well, there's Chris chiming in. Chris, we got to the launch on Saturday, the first place we checked out, and Chris was actually in I should mention this, the EKF Championship was at Champlain this weekend. I did not qualify for it. I only fished one EKF event, and I didn't do very well. It was up at Winnipesaukee last month.
Yep.
But with this, we had planned on it and said, whether I make the tournament or not, we're here. And when Nelson and I woke up and got our coffee and did our thing, we went out to one of the other launches that was nearby, and there was Chris. The wind was bad enough that he ended up having some boat trouble and had to actually stop early. So we had met him at the ramp, and I said, hey, there's Chris. And we waved at him. He came over, and he said, I just set my personal best for largemouth. He got a 19.5, which was awesome. Congrats to Chris on that.
Nice, Chris.
And then he immediately said, I also caught a gigantic pike that I smiled at and threw overboard without measuring. So we said, well, that'll do you good in the jigs and bigs, buddy.
But that's,
You got to do it.
It's a learning thing,
Yeah, so we, that was Saturday. I mean, Nelson and I fished until like 3, I think. You guys were still out, and we had expected to come home for lunch, and just we were rolling. I mean, Nelson, like I said, took a little bit to get going, but his bite, my bite really came on wind-blown weed beds.
Yep.
Nelson's bite came around docks. He got that going later in the day.
Yeah.
And my bite kind of died down, and I met up with him. Said, what's going on up here? And he said, I'm hitting docks. I kind of cleaned him out. Well, I found the weed bed up there, pulled back off of it. Instead of large smallmouth around the weed beds, I made a run on pike. So that's where all my pike came from, was just one run. I mean, it was, what'd I get? It was like a 23, then a 29, and then a 29 and a half, like in succession. So that was, there's my NE5 for the tournament. That was nice. But I do want to chime in here. I'm looking at the messaging thing, because now with us sitting here, I don't have the option to turn off the messaging thing.
You don't. No, you definitely don't.
So I do want to address Berkshire Brett. We talked a little bit about Berkshire Brett yesterday.
We talked about Berkshire Brett.
Berkshire Brett is very full of his own pike abilities,
Oh.
and he's been letting me know about it. So, Brett, I don't have a maple syrup fetish.
Yeah.
But
I do.
I am leading the northern category and the NE5. How's that maple syrup taste?
Better that than have a possible second place pike jump off your board. Ask me how I know. Yeah, we've all been there though.
Yeah.
Thanks to Mitch Skase, I got to share that 18 and a quarter largemouth leap off my board. First catch of the day. That was wonderful. It was met after it hit the water, and there was a barrage of profanity coming from this mouth at offensive levels of volume. I feel bad. There's nobody that lives on that lake that we were at that day. I don't think so. God, I hope not. I apologize.
No, that's where the animal mutilation occurred.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe Maybe it played a role. Who knows? Oh, Hooked Up North chiming in here says Muskie Week's coming up soon. I hope to bust up that pike.
I haven't talked shit to anybody here, and I apparently have a bullseye just painted on me.
It's like you have is it? I don't know.
I can talk shit. I played basketball in Western Massachusetts in the 90s growing up.
I did Bernie's HOT in the storeroom. He can handle it.
I'm really polite to you guys. I'm always positive, good catch, and then I have a maple syrup fetish. I'm coming for your pike. You ain't the boss of me. What did I do to deserve this? I mean, I know I'm the bad cop here, but like...
And yet all this is going on, and I still am feeling the pressure about wearing that goddamn Limp Bizkit shirt at if I lose this. So, unfortunately, for myself in the Jigs and Bigs tournament, this would, even though I did cull a bunch of garbage out of my NE5 and upgraded some significant stuff, points-wise... in the same spot. Although it did feel nice putting that 18 3/4 in my NE5. That really did. I was like, huh. Because, again, getting the strategy. Here I am. I have an 18 3/4, but if I put it in the largemouth category, it gets me no additional points whatsoever. At least in the NE5, it's a step toward more points. A step in the right direction.
True. Very true.
You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to freaking fold them. Oh, and then I guess that brings us to, should we cover Saturday night or should we cover what we did today first?
Well, what did we do yesterday? We should go. Well, yeah, let's go fishing wise because last night was the main event.
Last night was kind of out of this world.
Things happened last night. What did we do? So this morning we woke up from the shadows of last night.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of slept in.
Oh yeah.
And then Nelson and I kind of got up and did the same thing. We went to the same spot. And we had a bit of a shorter trip. I think Nelson got a decent bass, and I got yet another northern pike. And we called it earlier. You gave me you sent me a text saying, "Hey, let's we've got a pontoon boat lined up." So we had the pontoon lined up. We tried a different part of the lake, which unfortunately, I mean, we just didn't do well as a group. Nelson got a smaller largemouth at some point, but this was, there really wasn't a lot of cover in this part of the lake, and we had a lot of issues getting on fish. And the wind picked up and shifted twice, right? It was So
that was a lot. It was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be. I mean, even being on a pontoon boat and moving that much slower, I was like, "Holy crap! This wind is significant." I think it was gustier today than it was yesterday. It seemed more sustained yesterday, and then, we really didn't get on anything. But I do want to give a big, huge thank you to Dave Morissette. Dave Morissette is the owner of an amazing. What would you call this? They kind of have everything. They've got lodging. There's cabins. There's a launch. They do tournaments out of here. It's called the Anchorage, and it's in Georgia, Vermont. You should check out the Anchorage. Dave Morissette is actually he's a local guy. He's a guy from our neck of the woods in Western Mass, which is unbelievable. He was very, very, very just gracious. With hooking us up with one of his pontoon rentals, and we had an awesome time. So thank you, Dave. We appreciate it, man. That was a whole lot of fun.
And those cabins were like old school.
They were legit,
yeah. They were pretty neat. Yeah. If you're looking for that wilderness experience and don't want to go camping, check it out. Exactly. It's good stuff.
If you got a boat, they've got a launch there. They've got, you can do. There's so much. It's a little beach area. Like, it's great. You can go with the family and the kids. Unbelievable. And I bring all this up because we're thinking about the future here. Like, what does this potentially mean? We're all about making friends and partnerships and things like that. So, who knows what this could lead to down the road. I'm not saying too much. I don't want to put anything out there, but this could be some very great experiences in years to come. So hopefully all that works out. But man, we had a great time. I'll tell you what, I love, there is nothing. I know you have a whole other idea. Like we came back from the excursion on the pontoon boat, and Shawn had to shake that skunk off of him. So he had went out and had a banner. Like, we were out for, 60 minutes, maybe 90 minutes?
Yeah, I got up for like a quick
You don't
hour.
do a lot
right
of
at,
runs like that.
no, right at dusk. I wanted to hit that area one more time just to make sure I cleaned up any of those big smallmouth, and I hooked into 3. I landed 2 of them. The smaller of the 2 was just shy of 18 inches, and the other one was just shy of 19. So thank you, Champlain, for washing the skunk out of my mouth.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
was wonderful. And 2 more good smallmouth, and I got back here. I was literally on the water less than an hour ago. I mean,
Jay Manning, thank you so much. He says, happy birthday. Good to have you in here. We got Ellie Noel jumps in. She says, happy birthday. She says it's a fucking legit setup. You are not lying. It is very legit. One thing I do want to mention is you guys can't smell this cabin right now. I wish you could. It doesn't smell like we've had 5 men and a small party and all this together. My father... The consummate gourmet, if you will, has a Chateaubriand in the smoker right now with a bunch of potatoes as well. And on the stove right in front of us is a giant cast iron skillet just caramelizing onions, and the garlic and the mushrooms are about to hit it. And after we're done recording, we're going to stuff our faces and pop open some wine and have ourselves a good time. Right, Dad?
You got it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be epic. I'm very, very excited for this.
In fact, I have to walk away for a minute.
And check the beef?
Exactly.
I had a feeling. That's why I wanted to jump in. I was like, oh, maybe he's got to check the meat. We'll go ahead and we'll jump in with that. So, I mean, lots of big stuff happening, guys. This is amazing. I love recording live on location. It's like my favorite thing. I love it. We're here. We've got this amazing setup. I can't believe I haven't had a single low Wi-Fi network connection.
I am amazed.
And it's Wi-Fi. Normally, I'm plugged in when I'm at the Disco Dungeon.
Yeah.
Verizon, not Verizon. Who is it? Xfinity. Yeah, get your shit together, Comcast. What the hell is wrong with you?
We're out in the
Seriously.
woods. We're out in the woods.
Consider your fucking life and the decisions you've made. You piece of shit.
Shame.
You think you're a Peagle? No.
Peagle. So
Let's talk about Peagles.
that brings us to the main event. we had a party. We had a party.
We did have a party. I haven't had a party in years.
We were told.
I'm such an old piece of shit.
We were told to keep it down and not have a party. We had a party.
We did. There were togas.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there were togas. There was burning of things in the front. The neighbors got involved. The cops were here. I mean, it was insane. We're full of shit, actually. We got together with some friends and had some cocktails and had some laughs. But there was a lot that came out of this little gathering. There is a lot that came out of this. First and foremost, so we want to go through the guest list here. We had Lauren from Three Bells. She came up. Lauren, we love you. Always great. And Lauren came ready to party with a bottle of Woodford Reserve for yours truly. And we'll get to that in a moment. And then we had the Pendergasts in the house. We had Chris and Sarah Pendergast. And if you've listened to the show for 10 seconds, you know that Shawn the Fisherman over here has been exploiting Sarah's garden and culinary abilities for weeks.
We have been exploiting.
That's true. Yeah, I've definitely have some in there. Jay Manning jumps in, and I can confirm, indeed, yes. Lots, actually. Lots. Amazing. You might say that we're star pupils. I don't know. Anyway, not only did they show up, and they came bearing gifts as well. They showed up with 2 jars of Sarah's world-famous sauce at this point. I mean, the way we've been talking about her pasta sauce, it's like everywhere. So a jar for Shawn, and then a jar of the spicy variety for yours truly, which has, did she grow those habanero peppers?
I don't remember.
I don't know if she grew the peppers, but everything else, our garlic, the tomatoes, all of it comes from her garden. And I'm so excited to try this. But she also showed up with some pickles. Or as we affectionately call them, pickles.
Pickles.
Pickles. She calls them mustard pickles. And there's a blend of spices in this brine. And these are delicious. This jar is going to be gone by the end of tonight. And I figured the best way for me to thank Sarah Pendergast for her generosity is to do a pickleback shot for you people. I figure that's the best way to do it. I promised sobriety was going to be off the table, and here we go. That is delicious. That mustard just opens everything in your face and your head. It is amazing. The beef's done. Oh, beautiful.
Can we just eat on air?
I mean, we could. I think the potatoes might need a little more time.
Oh, okay.
The potatoes might need a little bit more time.
We about to get this on. Mm-hmm. We about to get this.
Yeah, it's definitely happening. We have a lot to do tonight. I mean, we have the show, and then I'm going to actually edit this and get it all together so it is ready for Tuesday morning, and then Monday I can just drag myself back to Western Massachusetts, host trivia, and then hug my wife and kids. That's it. That's my plan. But so far, I've been having an amazing birthday. This is great. Actually, probably the best birthday in years and years and years. This is so much fun. Absolutely amazing. But last night was a lot of fun. In fact, there was some brainstorming going on last night. And I don't want to get into too many details necessarily, but there's a lot of projects with 3 bells that are the groundwork is starting to get nailed down for. And a lot of folks, we're a fishing podcast, but winter is big for us. Very nice. Chris jumps in. He says, "Nice job, Bobby. Sarah's very happy you enjoyed the pickles. They're almost gone now. They are delicious. Absolutely delicious."
Before we jump into the 3 bell stuff,
Okay.
I just want. We're talking about the pickles.
Oh, the pickles.
People are probably wondering, why are we saying it in such
Pickles.
Yes, why are we saying pickles? Well, there was a conversation, and there was 7 people in the room, right? The Pendergrass, Lauren, and us 3, right? So there's 6 people.
And us 4. Nelson was
And Nelson,
with us.
pardon me,
Yep.
I forgot Nelson.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, so we 7 altogether.
So this conversation through 7 people probably took up, what would you say, maybe a half a brain cell, the conversation with
Oh, yeah,
pickles?
for most of it. In fact, I sent some stories to Elise that I wish I would have kept because I think they should have actually gone on the Instagram.
Yeah, so what happened was there was a comment made from Bobby to Lauren. They were sitting on the couch next to each other, and Bobby was given the jar of the mustard pickles. Comment was made of, "Oh my God, can you imagine these on a sandwich?"
Oh, that's right.
And Lauren agreed, and I was sitting across from them, and that was, in fact, the funniest thing I think I've ever seen because you were so sincere. Can you imagine this mustard pickle on a sandwich? Yep. Yeah, that was phenomenal. And then, the pickles comes from, should I get into that?
Yes, you should.
Well, we had a discussion about possible brining methods, and things went into the gutter.
Pickles. Oh, my God. It went deep in the gutter.
Deep into the gutter.
Yeah.
It was flushed. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Oh, it was flushed. It was in the gutter.
We're idiots, and we're disgusting.
And it's so funny because this morning at like 4:30 in the morning, I got up to, use the bathroom, and then I went back to bed, and I checked my phone because I wanted to see the weather and what we were looking at for not only wind, but for rain too, because it was supposed to rain. We got barely any rain where we were on the lake. I mean, we got back, I don't know if you noticed, but when we were walking back up to the cars, there was some puddles there that weren't there before. I wonder if they got rain on that side.
Yeah, it looked like this, like the south of where we were at. We went north from the launch, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we might have just dodged it, which is cool. This is that kind of a body of water where, like, if you could potentially see a storm and avoid it. It's that vast.
The
sixth largest,
sixth Great Lake.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Lauren, thank you so much. This has been an amazing weekend. Like, absolutely. My wife's going to just smack me in the face because I'm going to have the biggest shit-eating grin all week long. It's going to be fantastic. Ringing of the wetsuits. Oh, Chris, thank you. Thank you. Ringing of the wetsuit. So we got into detail. I'm going to touch on some of this Three Bells discussion here, because a lot of we focused last winter a lot on safety and a lot on taking precautionary measures for to ensure that you're around to fish the next time. You know what I mean? To fish that next time that you're out there. We want to make sure that you're here for that. But there's a couple of things that we've been brainstorming to actually put these things into practice. So it could be really, really fantastic for everybody. I think this is going to play out really, really nicely. So excited about that. What else do we have to go over, Shawn? For this very first segment.
Well, we talked about Peakles. We've been, really, this Champlain thing has been just 2 days of fishing and insanity. I don't know what else. I mean, what else can we cover? This was nuts. I mean, I didn't do much fishing the rest of the week. I didn't do any. I did. No, yeah. I prepped for this.
It was all this. Like I had gone out. There was one day where I had gone out with the sole intention of just throwing whatever I caught in the NE5 just to get to 5, to give me something to cull. And it was Wednesday the new moon? Was it Wednesday or Thursday?
It was this week.
It was. I think it was Wednesday. I don't think it was Thursday. I think Wednesday I had gone out early in the morning and had gotten on a bunch of fish. All largemouth, all nibblers, probably between 8.5 to like I think the biggest was 13 inches. I think. And
nibblerific.
Yeah, nibblerama. And that's what it was. But what was nice was I was able to take, instead of having one fish in my NE5, now I had 5. And it was a starting place. So then I was able to go and I called out that 8 with an 18, which was great. It was that's how this tournament works. It's a whole lot more like poker than anything else. You gotta plan and you gotta stick with it and go for it.
Apparently, you got to talk a lot of shit about pike.
You do a lot. There are a lot.
Savages.
That's the thing. That's why you and I don't have to talk shit, because the rest of you guys, there's 32 anglers in there, so the other 30 that are in there are doing a great enough job on your own, talking all the shit. Good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm not patronizing at all. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you. And if I have to wear that Limp Bizkit shirt,
that'll suck.
That's not going to be fun at all.
Nope. No. That'll suck.
But there is right now. I mean, we're still tied up at 5 points.
I know.
And that can change a bit. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
We'll go over the standings as of when did I do the? When I did this morning, right? Last night. Wait, I did the standings last night. We'll go over it real quick later on. I didn't do a post yet. I'll do that in a couple of days. I seem to be pretty good about doing it once a week. So, yeah. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
I love it. Well, all right, guys. Do we have anything else that we have to go over before we wrap up segment number 1?
We have to be prostitutes.
Oh, of course.
Buy our merch. We're prostitutes.
Yeah. Buy our merch. We do have lots and lots and lots. There is no shortage of ideas. It's about the execution of some of these new shirt designs. There's stuff that we have in mind that's coming this winter that's going to be amazing. But right now, you guys have about a week left to go ahead and order your Jigs and Bigs merchandise, like this hoodie that Shawn the Fisherman is wearing right now.
No, this is a special hoodie I asked to have made. They are getting the black ones.
That color, yeah. But that design, you can go to the website, go to Jigs and Bigs now, and you can order that design and get that hoodie, because fall is here, and it's nice to not freeze your ass off while you're fishing, and also represent your favorite podcast.
True,
yeah.
True. And we had a great idea for once September 22nd rolls around with something very popular that is probably going to go on the back of our regular, black Jigs and Bigs t-shirt, and we think that people are going to like it.
We're going to level it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Yeah, that is definitely some next level shit.
We're going to take it up, kick it up a notch, and I think you guys are going to really like it. We have in our next segment, we have our Just a Tip segment, and Shawn's got some interesting stuff we're going to talk about there, and I think you guys are really going to like it. We also have a little surprise for you in the FTG segment this week. little bit of a surprise. You want to stick around and make sure that we get to that. As always, we want to thank everybody that works with the show, too. Make sure to check out the Western Mass Fishing Report that drops every Thursday over at northeastwildwoman.com. Cheryl does a great job over there putting together a great report from the info that she gets from all the jig heads who contribute on a regular basis. So we appreciate you guys. You're all awesome. Go and check that out. And what else do we have to do? Oh, yeah, the contests. You guys have to know about this. So, the Bobby Roast Beef Instagram account, the Shawn the Fisherman Instagram account, the Jigs and Bigs Instagram account. New ongoing policy.
It won't shut off.
There we go. That's all right. The new
Noob.
Where was I? I was talking about the the Instagram and the contest. So we've kind of updated this like sort of idea. Fries are done. Lauren says fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
Fries are done.
So
Not fries, potatoes.
yeah. Where was I going with this? Oh, every time that one of those accounts hits the 1,000 mark for followers, when we hit a new 1,000 followers, we're doing a giveaway. We're just going to launch it as soon as it happens. Boom, we're going to be good to go. We're going to set you guys up with some awesome stuff. Of course, we're working with Old Glory Outdoors. We're working with Three Bells Outfitters. We're working with Hookset Hoodlums. We're working with Naqua and a bunch of other companies as well, to give you guys some really cool stuff. So if you're following us, and I'm sure the vast majority of the jig heads right now that are in here are following us on Instagram, do us a favor and go to like one of your favorite posts and just type, you should follow this person, and tag your friends that aren't following them. If they like winning stuff and, maybe like a lukewarm, entertaining fishing podcast, then we got it all for you. If that's what they want, we can deliver on those promises. So go ahead and follow us once we get to that. And I think my account, I'm around 40 follows away from doing my first giveaway.
Yeah, and once I'm actually just waiting on some graphics from, was it one or two of the shall we say collaborators on this?
Yep.
As soon as that comes out, we'll do a quick post showing what people are going to win.
People are going to be winning,
and you guys are going to be blown away. Like,
it's
I'm
awesome.
really
Yeah.
Everybody stepped up, but you're going to see some shit.
Yeah,
this is really good, and
quality.
Most of the collaborators with us are doing kind of a two-step thing. With every 1,000, you get something cool. Every 5,000,
you get something really cool.
Yeah. And I think we have kind of another little separation. The Jigs and Bigs and the Shawn the Fisherman accounts are kind of aimed at fishing stuff, and but some of the collaborators decided that they wanted to do something a little different for the Bobby Roast Beef account.
Oh yeah.
So that one has some what do you say? Plus 21. I mean, there's sample packs of beer in some case,
Sure.
whatever. But yeah. So be aware of that if you are going to follow.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, we'll work out all.
Yeah,
you
we'll
guys
work
will
out.
see the contest stuff and the prizes that are up for grabs and all the terms and everything that you got to do to go ahead and enter. But it's going to be amazing. So let's get those numbers up, and then we'll go ahead and give some stuff away. And there's just so many good projects that we have lined up for this. Once the fishing slows down, like really slows down, because right now it's starting to get good. September can be tough. This is kind of crazy, but you get into fall. When you really get into fall, not this transition stuff, it gets crazy. So we have another couple of months of good stuff. I think a lot of fun to be had. And we'll go ahead. Let's take a break right here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll come back with more after this, guys. We'll see you guys right after this quick message. Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce we're being supported by Old Glory Outdoors. They're a veteran-owned company that carries fishing and hunting gear. Plus, they're highly active in supporting veteran organizations and charities. Old Glory is an authorized dealer of favorite rods, FX rods, Guggen baits, X-Zone lures, Sixth Sense, and many more. There's a brick-and-mortar store located in East Brookfield, Massachusetts, but you can also order online at oldgloryoutdoors.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or
order online and pick up at the store. When you order, use the promo code JIGS and BIGS, and you'll save 10% off your complete order. Plus, you'll help support the show. Make sure to check out the apparel line called OGO Gear while you're there. Old Glory Outdoors believes in the slogan, "Start 'em young," to keep kids away from screens and enjoying nature. They've got a full array of live bait too. Check out oldgloryoutdoors.com and use the promo code JIGS and BIGS. Save some money and gear up now.
Bobby and Shawn now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
How he never gets old.
I love that dude. He's so freaking funny. So I want to explain this to my father before we get into the Just the Tip segment. So that intro, the English guy that you heard, that Shawn cut apart podcast smut to put together that thing right there, that was true editing genius. That's some Mr. Miyagi editing training right there.
Well, I mean,
It was,
that's not me. That wasn't me. I'm the beginning. I'm the intro.
yeah. You're the beginning. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The beginning.
Oh.
So that was that. But that open that we just heard. Remember, I told you about the guy I was with when I caught that 6.6.
Yeah.
That's him doing. That's not his voice. He's doing an impression
Of the porno guy.
of the porno guy. It's right on the money. Oh man, Chris, we love you, dude. You're the best. You are absolutely the best.
What have we done?
Damari, I love it. He's the greatest.
What have we done?
Oh, I know. We've created a monster.
Well, I got a tip for everybody because
Yeah.
I was just out and battling the wind for 2 fucking days. So I
Yep.
figure let's talk about the wind because I use it constantly. And I look through our Just the Tip archives and I realized that we did talk about the wind. Well, when did we talk about it? We talked about it in, it looks like August. Did we? Yeah, we talked about it in August.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little more about it. One of the things I look for, and once our planning for this trip video comes out and the part 2, which
Yep.
will be the execution of said trip, one of the things I look for is when I do my preparation, as we talked about in August, I look at what the wind is expected to be, particularly the direction. I think wind direction is hugely important. Not so much east, west, north, south. Obviously, though, an east wind, you might not, have as good a day if unless if the wind's coming from somewhere else. Sometimes a north wind will kill a day of fishing too. But regardless of what day you're out fishing, what direction it's from, what I do is I look at what the wind is going to hit as like a backstop.
Yeah.
So it could be a shoreline.
Yep.
It could be a shoreline with a steep drop. It could be an island. It could be a peninsula. It could be a weed bed. So in particular, this trip, I focused on a submerged weed bed that was it was starting to grow at about 13 feet in the water, and it was like 6-7 feet tall. And then by the time it got to 8 feet deep, it was almost at the surface, but the wind was blowing into it. So it was almost like a wall. The wind was blowing into a wall. So I was casting, as I said, I caught everything on a chatterbait. I was casting with the wind to the wall of weeds and pulling it back out. Now, if the fish are set up ambush style to have whatever is being, and I think we covered this one time too with the minnows headed in the same direction or the bait fish headed in the same direction as the wind.
Yep.
This is the opposite because I'm pulling it back through the wind.
You're casting. You're casting with the wind in the direction. Yeah.
And some of the theory that I've read up on this is, over the years is that you're actually forcing that reaction bite because the fish are facing the other way and they're not expecting prey to come from behind them rip by, and they have a quick a split second to decide, am I going to eat this thing or not? I'm not in the water. I don't have gills. I don't have fins. I don't know if that's the truth or not. But I can tell you this. I caught all good fish this weekend, except for those 2 I mentioned earlier, the 14 and the 15.
Yep.
All but one of the fish I caught were doing that. The other one was that giant smallmouth that I caught about an hour ago that was just shy of 19 inches.
Yep.
That one hit on the drop. Other than that, every fish hit as it was being pulling it back through the wind, casting with the wind, pulling it back through. I think maybe there was one that I might have done it might have been a cross, but I don't think it was. I think every fish I caught, every fish that I can remember these 2 days, I caught by casting with the wind, retrieving against it. But the big key thing was there was that backstop of weeds constantly present. So I would throw the lure either into or at that wall and bring it right back, and I'm guessing I was triggering those reaction bites. That's a thing that I do constantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even think I throw search baits into the wind anymore. But
yeah, well, and when we were on the pontoon today, you had when Nelson was navigating, you were telling him to kind of position us so that we had the wind to cast like in that direction.
Yep.
And now that makes a lot of sense because we were in that real grassy area where it was coming right up like just under the surface.
Yeah, we went over a couple of grassy points.
You know what? That's the only time I actually got bites.
Yeah, I mean I was trying to mimic that. Like it was a different part of the lake. I mean, honestly, with a body of water that size, it was like two different bodies of water. It was so sparse on the area we went to with the pontoon that the vegetation was just so sparse. But when I found some, I tried to mimic that, and I mean, Nelson caught one fish. We got a few hits, but we just weren't as successful.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, it was almost like two different bodies of water.
Yeah.
But again, as a fisherman or as an angler, go out and do the same thing over and over again, and then modify things from there. Unfortunately, this place we didn't do as well.
No, I mean, and it happens. You know, I mean, that's a part of it, but
yeah. So
yeah,
try that. Find an object where the wind is blowing into. Cast your lure with the wind. Retrieve against it. Let me know how you do.
And the nice thing is that helps you in a way as well. Like when you're casting with the wind, you can unload a spool. I mean, it really, you get some distance. So if you're looking to get optimum casts and cover a lot more area, that's going to help as well, casting with that, but definitely dragging it back over. And, it's funny you say that, like your bass are reactionary. Just this week, and I wish I forget what it was, who it was. It might have been Randy Blackett, like one of his videos or something. He was talking about the way that fish feed is not always like a conscious thought, like, am I hungry? Like there's elements of it that we don't necessarily even think of. They just don't register to humans. They feed for competition. They feed for just straight reaction. Like they can't not feed. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And I think like what you're saying, it's similar to if you're punching cheese mats, and you get this like 1 ounce tungsten weight that just comes, crashing down out of nowhere. That fish's instinctual reaction is just snap at it and just grab it.
Very possible.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I recommend it to everybody, but I did think about this when I was out this afternoon or this evening. The wind puts off a lot of people.
Yeah. It does.
I actually prefer to fish in the wind. I prefer it. Like if there's no wind, I get a little antsy.
When it's still, it can be harder.
The wind points me in the direction of where the fish are.
Yeah.
That's what I feel, and then it's just a matter of looking at a map and seeing what it pushes up against and start it. That's where I start.
And actually, when you had mentioned earlier that you were going to talk about wind in the Just the Tip segment, first thing I thought of was like, from a kayak standpoint, like everybody fights the wind in a kayak. And I mean, and that's a whole other conversation, but I can say that, I mean, honestly, I'm finally starting to see the light where like it might be a little bit of work to get there, but you can make the wind actually work for you.
Well, last week, both of those tournaments that I either won or placed in were based off that wind.
Yep.
That what I just said. And then today, today and yesterday, the EKF championship went on yesterday. And I just out of curiosity, seeing what I did, where I would have placed, and I had 86 inches of fish for yesterday. That would have put me in fifth. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't even in the tournament, just doing what I did. I mean, going back to last week, the Friday, the one-on-one I had against John Medina, that 19-inch fish I pulled out of a tree, the shore, the wind was running alongside the western shore, but one little break went parallel. Yeah. Just for, I swear to God, it was 50 feet.
No kidding.
Then it went,
but it was enough of a difference, you think?
Excuse me, it went perpendicular.
Oh, okay.
So it was parallel. The whole shore was parallel. One little break went in, made a little tiny point, went perpendicular for about 50 feet, and then went back to running parallel. That tree was on the perpendicular bank that was receiving all that wind, and there was a quick drop. There was a steep drop there down to like 8 feet, and that's where that fish was. Andy and I, the next day on Saturday, I looked where the wind was, and I said, well, I'd like to run this shoreline. I don't know how far the fish are going to be down. They were down a little further than I thought, but they were there. And we finished third. So, and it took me a little while to find them because it sucks to catch one fish where you start, because then you're trying and you're like, well, there was one here, and you keep going back to that.
It haunts you.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's just it's a taste, and that's not a pattern. One fish is one fish.
Yep.
And we stuck on that spot, and then, finally gave it up after like 3 hours and said it's time to move. And when we moved down, we found where the fish were piling up from the wind. This lake, there were a couple spots where I got one or two fish, but they were pretty much spread out on one bank, but the bank that was receiving the wind.
Yeah.
So it was just a longer bank. This is a huge body of water.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they were spread out, but they were there. They were just spread out. It wasn't 3 fish on 3 casts. It was, 3 fish on 50 casts, but they were there. So hope that helps everybody. Like I said, give the wind a try. It can be your friend. If you're in a kayak and the wind's blowing in and you've got your place to fish, the easiest thing to do while you have energy is to go out, go into the wind, and then coast back.
Yeah.
And fish that way.
Yep.
There are I'm gonna throw an unsolicited plug in here for good old Academy Sports down there in the south. Academy sells a drift sock for bass boats. It's big.
Oh yeah.
And I bought one. They're like $20. And if you have a kayak and you're paddling, go ahead and throw that on your anchor line and throw it out, and you go slow. So there you go. You're welcome, Academy. Didn't cost you anything.
Good to know. One thing I do want to mention here, Lauren jumps in and she says, where's the fish curtain? So the fish curtain is, I need to clarify, the fish curtain is the shower curtain here in the bathroom of the bass cabin. It's a thing of beauty. It's all freshwater fish on this. It's just a little pattern. Yours truly was doing his business in there one day and was like, that's interesting. It's all these different species. There's bowfin, there's pike, there's bass, there's all different various panfish. There's no trout. Idiot. There was a giant rainbow trout right in the middle. Right in the middle of the thing. So, and we talked about using it as a backdrop and then, making Ian freak out a little bit thinking that we were recording this podcast in his bathroom. We did not. And we actually, honestly, we just don't want to, we like Ian. We don't want to mess up his house.
And we're lazy.
That too. We're a little preoccupied with Chateaubriand.
Oh, meat and fishing.
Yeah, it's two. It's surf and it's turf. It's two things that go great together.
I was wondering when I saw that, if that was made locally based on the species in this lake. I don't know.
It's accurate. It could be. I wonder if he chose it based on that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Although there are other species that aren't on there that I didn't see. But
yeah,
amazing stuff. It is time. Are you ready for this?
I'm always ready. I think I'm a little less ready today. Well, let's go.
So we're using the old school open today because in the Fuck That Guy segment for this week, we had no submissions. And, really, considering the size of the body of water that we were on just the past 2 days, a lot of people were really well behaved. So we have nothing to really throw out there either, honestly.
We don't.
Yeah. There's it's kind of crazy. So, guys, we know that these douchebags are out there. We know that you have been scorned by and screwed over by somebody. So just as a little reminder, we want to let you know that do what Adam Blemecki did when he got screwed over on the Nashua River. Go to your phone. Let your inner Karen go. Go to jigsandbigs.com. You can tap that button that says leave us a voice note. It gives you a 60-second window to sound off. Let it rip. and we will gladly use it in the show. So, I mean, this week I was kind of surprised that I mean, knowing how many wreck boaters there are, I do think that the wind may have played a factor. There were some schooners.
There were schooners.
I
don't know. It's later in the year. It's not summer vacation anymore. Yeah. There was a lot of people pulling their docks in, so they're prepping for the cold weather.
They're getting ready, yeah.
I honestly, one of the thoughts that has been recurrent, like going through my mind this whole 2 days of fishing is, I really like fishing here more than I like fishing at Winnipesaukee and Candlewood because this place was so empty. And I don't know if it's the time of year, but it was just wonderful.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
It might be the time of year. Berkshire Brett chimes in and asks if we saw any houseboats. I didn't notice any houseboats.
Do you know what I did notice? And I made mention to Nelson when we were driving back from the pontoon today.
What's that?
Did you see where the duck blinds were set up in that marshy area of the lake?
Did
you see how close to the road they were set up?
Like less than 500 feet.
There was one of them that was 50 feet away from the road, if that. I was like, holy shit. I mean, it was obviously the windows were pointed the other direction.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to be shooting onto the road. But
Vermont, check the privilege. Jesus.
Vermont's all right. I mean, you want to hunt and kill shit, do it. I'm all right.
Did you? Oh, and speaking of waterfowl, why don't you tell a little story about your...
I had to make a pit stop on an island. I'm not going to get into the reasons for the pit stop.
But if there is a fuck this guy for this week, it's these goddamn birds.
Cormorants are the smelliest, most disgusting species of creature on this godforsaken earth. I was enveloped in their shit for a half an hour.
He was.
I could taste it the day after. It was stuck to my nose hairs. Fuck cormorants. They smell.
Yeah. So
I hate cormorants. You know what they are? Is like, you know how everyone hates mice and rats?
yeah.
But then like chipmunks are cute.
Oh yeah.
And you know cormorants are just smelly and gross.
Yep.
But
Everybody loves ducks.
no, everyone loves loons.
Oh, everybody does love loons.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Jay jumps in and says, does Father Beef have any stories to share? Some best of Bobby roast beef? We're going to find out because I'm going to interview my dad. We're going to talk. We're going to have some good ones. This is the thing you guys don't know. My dad has fished at Champlain a bunch of times. He's been here before and he's chock full of stories. So we've heard a lot about some of the good stuff out here. In fact, he's fished nearby to here before. Like, I mean, just we'll get into that later. You guys are definitely going to enjoy that stuff. So, I mean, just as a reminder, guys, when it comes to FTG, jump on our website, jump on jigsandbigs.com. You can leave us a voice note and just use that as a soundboard. Go ahead and if you're a little, perturbed or something, go ahead and voice, work that frustration out. Don't carry that around for the rest of your day. It's going to ruin your fishing trip.
And if I can interject for a second,
Of course.
I'm just glad that Shawn liked the beef because I could have been that guy.
It's true. He could have.
I would never, ever say, fuck that guy to somebody who's cooking me food.
That's very true.
There's no
That's very
way,
true.
and especially not like, you're going to be interviewing him in a little bit.
Yep.
Off air, right?
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
You're going to have to do like 10 takes because all you're going to hear in the background is, oh my God, this is so good. Me chewing. Oh, it's going to sound like a porn. I'm going to be making those noises in the background, like happy noises in my mouth, like, oh, yeah. See, this is your own fault.
It reminds me of the first time Alex Swamp Rat Fishing will get a kick out of this. The first time I ever had a sub from White House Subs, which is a staple in Atlantic City. I mean, absolutely, probably some of the best sandwiches on earth. Almost, I would go so far as to say that. But I'll never forget the first time I ever worked at a convention for a DJ Expo. It was 2015, and I was exhausted the entire day. I'm just on my feet, and we had plans to go to these events afterwards. I'm like, I can't do it. I just want to go and grab a sandwich and go to sleep, and that's it. I ordered a large, and I had to take it. Needed to be in 2 sessions to eat this sandwich. It was ridiculous, but I realized I'm like, I am audibly enjoying this as I'm eating it. Just, oh, this is so goddamn good. And it was ridiculous. I wasn't podcasting at the time. I wish I was. I would have recorded it. I think it would have been hilarious.
In between sessions, did you cuddle? with the sandwich, like Homer Simpson did with his sandwich for like a month? Did you cuddle with it?
No,
you didn't.
no.
You didn't make sweet love to the sandwich.
It went right into the mini fridge. I passed out for about 2 hours. Woke back up and was just like sandwich. I ate it like Frankenstein. I was just like, ah.
Yeah, you know what episode of The Simpsons I'm talking about?
I recall, yeah.
Where he finds it in the couch like a month later. He's like, oh, my sandwich. He's just pounding it. He gets sick.
That would never happen. That would never
did
happen.
it.
I would never leave a sandwich in a couch. There's no sandwich left behind. No sandwich left behind, God damn it.
You would eat it a month later, but by God, not in a couch.
No, not in the couch. All right, guys, so we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more after this. Jigs and Bigs coming up after this short message.
Jigs and Bigs is proud to announce that we're being supported by Three Bells Outfitters. Located in Smith Cove on the Niantic River, TBO is Connecticut's premier paddle sports retailer. They're a full service shop specializing in kayaks and paddleboards for everything from recreation to tournament fishing. Three Bells is an authorized dealer of Hobie, Jackson, Feel Free, Native, and Bonafide kayaks, as well as many paddleboard brands. Not sure of what kind of SUP or kayak you want? TBO offers free demos of all brands. Want to go for an extended test drive? They have a full-service rental facility on site. Three Bells also offers a complete rigging service for your kayak with such brands as Yak Attack, Yak Gear, Burley Pro, Yak Power, Torpedo, and more. The sky is the limit. You can visit Three Bells Outfitters in person or online at threebellsoutfitters.com. They ship anywhere in the lower 48 states or order online and pick up at the store. Can't make it to the store to pick up your kayak or worried the freight company might damage your purchase? Three Bells Outfitters offers a white glove delivery of kayaks within a 225-mile radius of their store at a rate less than typical freight carriers. They will deliver your kayak, set it up, and answer any questions you may have. Be sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tell them Jigs and Bigs sent you. Three Bells Outfitters, because life is better on the water.
Alrighty, guys, this week we've got a brand new interview for you, and this is an interview that I've been waiting to do. Really, this is one that was on my short list from when I first started this podcast, this whole project right here. I've got my dad here. I've got the OG Bobby Roast Beef right here. I've got the OG Robert Charette. You can find him on Instagram if you're into it. Robert.Charette.148. Dad, how you doing, man? How's things? Good?
Better now.
That's good. This is a first. First off, this is the first time I've ever interviewed anybody that's known me as long as you have, Dad, out of anybody. But it's also the first time I have ever done an interview while drinking a glass of red wine after eating an amazing meal while at the Bass Cabin 189 here in beautiful Lake Champlain in Vermont. So life is good. Life is good for me, and I think life is good for you too.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And before you go ahead with the questions,
Yep.
I want to thank you and Shawn for having me here this weekend.
It was awesome. I'm glad to have you here. There's nobody else I'd rather have here.
Outstanding weekend.
Amazing. We got out, we did some fishing, and I'm telling you, I think we had probably the best fishing day of our entire lives. It was a genuine adventure, is what it was. I mean, we got on the types of water and it went from spot to spot in ways never before. In fact, our guide for the day, Ian Molinauskas, the owner of Bass Cabin 189, had just sent me a video. He texted me a video, and I'm going to throw that out there. I mean, we were troopers. This is not something we do every day. This was our first rodeo. Unbelievable. We had a great time. You caught some amazing fish. I caught some amazing fish. Ian caught some amazing fish. It was a whole lot of fun. It was great. Let's go ahead and just get to it. In your opinion, Dad, regarding, think of it like this, more like creature comforts, reasons that you enjoy it, not because the fishing's great. What's your favorite season to be in the outdoors fishing?
Probably summer.
Summer? Yeah. I can see that. There's some people that just they love the heat, and there's like I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. A lot of people say that they love the fall, and a lot of our listeners have said they like the spring. I tend to think they like the spring because that's when the odds are best for catching the big ones, but summer's good too. Summer is always good. What is the weather condition that'll make you decide to just call it a day?
Yeah, I guess I would be considered a fair weather fisherman.
Yeah.
I could take a little bit of rain, but if it starts coming down in buckets, then I'm thinking of heading to the Elks or the Legion or somewhere off the water where it's dry.
That's not a bad idea because then you can duck out, have a couple of pops and relax, then, get back out there if need be. That's not a bad thing. As far as types of bodies of water that you like, because you fished it all. I mean, you fish current, you fish ponds, you fish large lakes. What's your favorite?
I think I would have to go with large lakes.
Yeah.
Well, the experience we had this weekend.
Yeah.
And years ago, I fished Champlain. I fished Lake George. The big lakes is basically where any of the big fish I got came from the big lakes.
Yeah. I think with big lakes, you can dedicate more to them because there's so much ground. Like you're not gonna break it all down in one day, or even 1 week. Like you can really just take your time and like sink your teeth into it and make it a project. I don't know that I've ever fished Lake George. I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah. I don't think I ever have. And I know some of our listeners have. I know Wild Bill and Brutus, they have fished over at Lake George routinely, as does Chris Tabari, one of our regulars. So maybe that'll be one of the next big trips. I don't know. That should be something. Is there any one like confidence bait that you have, or like a short list, like a top 3 baits that you like to throw that get the job done?
Well, until this weekend, it's always been live bait.
Yeah.
We used to throw, shiners and pinheads and night growlers and on the lakes.
Yep.
On the streams, we were throwing trout worms.
Mealworms were a big one for you for a while.
Mealworms, depending on mostly like pond fishing is where I use mealworms. But
I can remember using mealworms for the first time and thinking it was absolutely disgusting. I'm like, why do they bleed white? What the hell is this? But you got to do what you got to do. I think this is a great question because I've actually referenced your tackle box when referring to this. There's that saying that fishing tackle catches more fishermen than it actually catches fish. Mm-hmm. Pretty popular saying. In your opinion, what do you think the most ridiculous tackle fishing trend has been that's been out there regarding tackle specifically that you think the industry has given us, in your opinion, and have you ever tried it or been guilty of it?
No, I don't think so. I pretty much all my life have gone with the basics.
Yeah.
And as I said, being a bait fisherman, most of the time it was hooks and sinkers.
Yep. A lot of terminal tackle. I remember that big, like, tan tackle box that you had with the 3 shelves. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking when I was a kid and looking at that thing like, wow, that is like all the tackle. Like, that's the whole tackle shop. Everything. And you mentioned it this trip, that bat lure that you had, that silver and black bat lure with the wings, that like topwater walker. That sticks in my mind so clearly, and there's a guy we've had on the show before. He's a New Englander. His name's Todd Grubb. You want to talk about hardcore fishermen? He is hardcore. Nelson and I were talking about him on the boat today, and he's like, I got to tell you, man, I love Todd's saltwater videos. He's like, it just brings me right back. I guess Nelson worked with one of the captains that Todd works because he does. He's a first mate. He's a mate on a party boat, and then he does these trophy tog trips out of I think Rhode Island, and Like, so, but when it comes to bass fishing, he's huge on top water all day. And he will go and track down these sort of artisan bait makers that do these handmade baits. And that winged style walker that goes across the top, there's a couple of them. And he's like, you would not believe these things get crunched. You just got to dedicate yourself to it. I think his answer too, when I asked favorite time to be fishing instead of season, was just in the dark at night. It's the best. Nothing I'm super familiar with. And I mean, I always say I'm going to fish after trivia. I'm always, no way it's happening. I'm always just looking to go home, get something to eat, and call it a night.
Well, somebody gave me that bat that you're referring to.
Yeah?
And it's never been on a line as long as I've had it.
No kidding.
And I believe it was brand new when they gave it to me. And I should give it to you because I believe I still have it.
Yeah. I'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can catch a donkey on it. You never know.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
absolutely.
fish with it at night. Actually, I have a great spot where I could try that sucker too. It's like my new Smalley honey hole locally. It's good. It's a little sketchy to get to, but it's Western Mass. What are the top 3 people that you would love to fish with? They can be celebrities, they could be alive, they could be dead. It doesn't matter. What are your top 3 people that you want to fish with?
Probably Ernest Hemingway.
Was he an angler?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Big time. Down out of the Keys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, he was a big mojito drinker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now the dots are getting connected. I could see that. Yeah.
And, I don't know. Other than that, a name that comes to mind that I never knew much of, but was supposed to have been quite the angler, a fella named Gadabout Gaddis.
Gadabout Gaddis.
Yeah, that was in my young days, my teen days, and and I don't know who else other than that.
I got to look this up. How do you spell this?
I'm not even sure. But I believe he back.
Oh my God, there it is. There it is. Yeah. Gadabout Gaddis on Wikipedia. Oh, this is pretty impressive. I'm going to look into this. Oh, The Flying Fisherman. I remember that show.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
From here, I mean, long time ago.
Oh yeah. I think I've actually maybe seen some videos online from it. But yeah, okay. I remember that. All right. I didn't realize that was his name. Gadabout Gaddis. What about I ask everybody this because I think I'm a DJ. I've been a musician. You've played drums before as well. Like, music is a huge part of my life, and I use music to kind of get hyped up when I'm going to fish. And now I'll even listen to music while I'm fishing. Like when I'm in the kayak, even on the phone, I'll just let it go on speaker. Doesn't have to be loud, but just kind of something to kind of like. What I find is I'll put on a playlist to match the tempo of the style I should be fishing. If I need to slow down, I'll listen to slow blues or something. If I need to speed up, I'll listen to something a little bit more up tempo. And it's just, it works for me. It's probably all in my own head, but it does. I think it works for me. In your opinion, what would you use to get hyped up to go fishing? Like what's the perfect soundtrack for you?
I really don't know. I don't.
There's a lot of people who are just like, I'm not listening to anything. And some people say they'll listen to Jigs and Bigs.
Well, for me, fishing is a relaxing thing.
Yeah.
So I can just be out there listening to the wind.
Oh, yeah.
And be happy with that.
Sometimes I think that's the best. This is a random question. What's your favorite fried chicken joint?
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It is. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because the caveat had to be, there's one of two things it has to have. Is a drive-through, or it has to be served in a gas station. One of the two.
Well,
KFC.
Kentucky Fried and then Chester fried.
Chester fried. Okay, Chester fried. Have you had crispy crunchy yet?
No.
It's out of this world.
No, is that up north here?
It's recently. You remember the worst intersection in Chicopee, the old 7-Eleven. It's right across from the Walgreens by the Pike entrance.
Oh, Montgomery and Granby.
Yeah,
Road?
Montgomery and Granby, right there. So in that, I think it used to be a 7-Eleven decades ago. I think it's called like Jeff's Market or something like that.
Jeff's Corner.
Yeah, there's a crispy, crunchy chicken in there.
No kidding.
Out of this world. I brought Chloe we were going fishing, and I said, look, let's go grab lunch, and then we'll go over to, I think I was bringing her to Forest Park, and we go over there, and she's like, this is amazing, Dad. She's been wanting to get crispy crunchy forever, and it's pretty damn good. It is. Although I will say this, having traveled a little bit, I've had Bojangles, and that might be the chef's kiss of it's out of this world. The whole family. When we went to South Carolina to Myrtle Beach, we had Bojangles. We had it for breakfast, and then we had it for lunch on the way home. And we're just like, this might beat Popeyes. It might. It very well might. And I think it did. Let's see. What do we got here? Have you? Of course, you've traveled places to fish. You've traveled to Champlain. Of the places that you've traveled, what's your favorite? What's your favorite spot to fish? Because you fished in the Keys too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is your favorite?
Probably Almarada and the Keys.
Yeah. It's that's like mangroves and stuff. And
Well, it depends on what you're fishing for.
oh, all right.
But down there, we've done mostly reef fishing.
Oh, okay.
And, you're going to get tons of different... You're going to get action. And that's what we go for because we don't keep anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's catch and release.
Right.
And you're looking for the sport.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I haven't been to the Keys. I haven't done a whole lot of saltwater or even brackish fishing at all. And we've had some guests on the show, especially in like Louisiana, where like the Grand Isle area out there, where it's just like redfish heaven and speckled trout and these species that we don't really get up here. Definitely not in New England, but it's something I would love to check out. Is there a dream or a fishing destination or a single dream trip, like one body of water in the world that you would love to travel to?
Yeah, I never really thought about it. Probably a trip that I would like to do would be Walker's Cay in the ocean.
Yeah.
Down South Florida.
Yep.
They got trips out of Key West that'll take you down there. And, go for sailfish and stuff like that, marlin.
Oh, big fish.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, like trophy fish.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah.
It's funny. It was Todd Grubb somehow hooked a dead marlin up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's on one of his videos. I forget what it is, and I'm like, that's an amazing fish, and didn't realize until the end of the video that like, no, it was a dead marlin, and I think I don't know if he was fishing topwater and it was floating, but he managed to hook it. He was out with this group, Woozy Fishing. I think they're a couple, and they do. I don't know if they do charters, but they go out pretty hard for saltwater of all kinds. A lot of striper, a lot of albies. Like it's pretty nuts. But I saw that in the video. I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, what's that even possibly doing up this way? But I don't know.
Crazy.
So here this is probably, I would say this is like the cornerstone question of the show, of our interview or of the show. It's a two-parter. It's fishing stories. That's like what kind of gave birth to this whole thing. In your opinion, or what should I say? No, let me rephrase that. What I need from you is two stories. One of them is like that moment where you're just like the most proud. You're like, yes, this is what it's all about. Where or maybe it was just a giant catch. Maybe it was just like an overwhelming experience, like whatever it is, something like that you're most proud of on the water. And then the other side of that is like that biggest sort of that moment. Go for it.
Well, probably the biggest. I would have to say would be the experience I had yesterday fishing with artificial bait, which I never really did much of. Never landed a fish on artificial bait until yesterday. And then the size of the fish that we landed yesterday.
It's quality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was freaking quality.
That was great. And the biggest blooper would probably be a saltwater story.
Yep.
We were on a barefoot cruise, and we were off the coast of St. John in the Caribbean, and the boat that we were on didn't have very good equipment at all for fishing.
Yeah.
But other couples that were on the cruise with us were out on a snorkel trip, and I was sitting back, so I asked the captain for a fishing rod, and he gave me one. And they had some lures and stuff like that, but nothing was happening with any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So looking overboard, I noticed there were a bunch of bait fish. Down there, they call them silver sides. Mm-hmm. And they basically look like little shad.
Oh, okay.
And so I managed to snag one. So now at least I had like
a little bit of bait, yeah.
And I tossed it out there, and there was a 5 to 6 foot barracuda that I could see that was just laying on the bottom.
Yep.
Well, after I threw out the silver side, I had a hook through its side. It was kind of flopping around.
Yep.
And this barracuda darted and grabbed that sucker.
Oh, I believe it.
Came out of the water. I can't even imagine how far the jump was. But ended up stripping the reel, which didn't have very much line on it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Crap equipment, and snapped it off. So that was the blooper part of it. But the good part of it was the people that were snorkeling were on their way back, and they seen it all happen underwater.
Oh, really?
It was cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, those kinds of things. It's like it's sort of just like the lottery when it happens. You're just like these amazing sort of experiences happen on the water. These fish react and they do something crazy. It's awesome. And I love there's this one story that comes to mind where I was fishing with Delaney, my youngest daughter, and I was fishing a drop shot like I was fishing yesterday when I caught those first couple. And I'm fishing a drop shot, and I caught a snapping turtle with a shell the size of a hubcap.
Oh, yeah.
It was huge. And I hooked it in the back thigh meat. This little tiny finesse hook just happened to, I thought I had a bite, and I laid into it, and boom, I dragged this sucker all the way over to where I was standing, and I'm fishing from this platform that's up over the water like a moron. Little tiny medium combo, the one I was using for a Ned rig. And I'm like, how am I going to get this thing up here to release the hook? So I'm just bouncing it up and down, hoping that the weight's going to come off, and eventually it worked. It either I forget if it either straightened the hook and just fell out, or if I bounced it up enough and it came off the barb and then landed back in the water. But this sucker was absolutely huge, a dinosaur. And Delaney was just in shock, jaw on the floor. She's like, I love when stuff like that happens. Or when I was out with Chloe just this past summer, we were walking the same body of water, and I said to her, I was like, yeah, we're going to go grab lunch in a little while. Hold on, kiddo. And I flip a Senko over by this tree, and my line starts running down the pond, like away from me. I lay into it, and I pulled out a 17. And there's not a soul on this earth that cares less about the fish that I catch than my 17-year-old daughter. Not a soul. But she was on the phone with her friends, and she's like, oh, my God, my dad just caught a big boy fish. Holy crap. She took pictures. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This was awesome, Dad. I'm glad I finally got to do this. This is great. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Go follow my dad, robert.charette.148 at Instagram. Trust me, you guys. He's awesome. If you like me, you're going to love him. Go ahead and follow him, guys. We'll see you next time. Oh, and Dad, the pictures that I took with you holding those big smallmouth, that's going to be the cover of this episode.
Cool.
I got a great picture. You guys are going to love it. Have a good one. We'll see you right after this. I'd like to. This is the part in the show where I normally would say that's going to do it for us at Jigs and Bigs, but that is not going to do it for us at Jigs and Bigs because we neglected. Because we've had a lot going on this weekend. We neglected to give you guys the full delivery as far as the tournament info that's been going on this week, as far as the action that's been happening, both with Chronic Trips and with Jigs and Bigs. Jigs and Bigs has been absolutely fire. Chronic Trips is coming, and it's going to be a good one. So are you ready for this, Shawn?
Before we start with my music.
Yes.
Before we start.
Yep.
Today, or this weekend, was the EKF championship.
Yeah, we definitely have to acknowledge the fact that EKF championship happened here at Champlain. That was a huge thing. To everybody who braved it out there, like you guys,
well,
my hat's off. It's on right now, but symbolically it's off.
Get that applause button ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
You ready?
Yep.
Fingers on the button.
I'm ready.
Congrats to the EKF, the winner of the EKF championship, Jason Gardner.
Jason won it.
He did. I believe he cracked 90. If not, he was close. But yeah, Jason did it. He went out there and kicked ass. So great job, Jason.
Jason, excellent job, man.
He's been on the show, twice? A couple times?
He's been on twice. When we initially talked about EKF, and then we had interviewed him, like even before that.
Yep.
He was in the beef seat. Wow, that's awesome.
He did really, really well.
He did
congrats
really
to
well.
him.
Wow, dude. Good for you, man.
Now we get some music.
Now we get some music. Are you ready?
Yes. Love that music. Love it. Almost like, we should make mention that the whole tournament recap here got completely screwed up by that meat coming into the kitchen. Because now I've been getting up during breaks and just like picking at it like the father from A Christmas Story when he's eating the goddamn turkey and then the Bumpus hounds get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's right.
Bumpus is sons of bitches. All right. We're gonna start real. We're gonna loosen it up first. Right off the bat, Chronic Trips next month, October. We got about close to 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks until Chronic Trip starts.
Yep.
I'll have that up for pre-reg next week or two, whatever. We got time. But Jigs and Bigs this month, we had a couple people head up to Champlain, and the standings got turned on their head. So this is just as of yesterday. There might even be a change or two that I'm not aware of, but just as of yesterday. Steve Hedges, third place, 14 points. Great job, Steve. He was actually up here fishing the EKF event, and I believe he put up a smallmouth and I think a pike as well.
Yep.
Nice job, Steve. Jerry Howes.
Jerry Howes. Of course, Jerry Howes.
Mr. Double Digit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in second now.
Dude.
You know why?
What happened?
This beef-eating motherfucker sitting right next to you caught some pike and caught some big smallmouth. Shawn the Fisherman, first place, 18 points. Jerry, second place, 17 points. Holy shit, guy. I got on the pike. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean the Mass Turnpike. I mean the Northern Pike. Whether it's Minnesota, Vermont, you put me on some cold water with some pike, shit happens. I like it.
Things are going to happen.
Just to round out our top five, we actually have a tie for fourth between Chris DeBari, Howie himself, and Berkshire Brett.
Berkshire Brett throwing the hammer down. Berkshire Brett.
They have 10 points each. Brett throwing the hammer down. But get on those pike, Brett. I mean, fourth place for a man who's running his mouth like this. Fourth place. Is this comparable to the guy who, when the football team is down 35 in the fourth quarter and the scrubs are in and the starting wide receiver scores a touchdown, spikes it, does a dance and everything when they're down 35? Is that Berkshire Brett land? No?
It could be. Oh, and now with that shit, he says, "Oh, I'm coming for you."
No, you're not.
This from the man who says he can't wait for the Shawn the Fisherman Chateaubriand noises again.
Yeah. Well, you got to talk to somebody, Brett. Get some help.
The action this month it's intense.
Yep. And that's a tie for fourth, we'll call that. And then there is another tie for a three-way tie for fifth. Yeah. This is kind of neat. Right after them, we've got Josh Hubner, which is Hooked Up North, our guy. We got Eric Graves, who is Gravy Fishing, and Wild Bill, who has been pulling up every bottom-feeding species from the bottom of the Connecticut River in the past week and a half.
Whatever it takes to get it done, Wild Bill.
Dude, he's got to do it.
Yeah.
So, including a 23-inch eel. I'm laughing at your eel, Bill. Oh, my God. So they have 8 points each. That's fifth place. After that, Nelson's rounding out with 6, but he might have more. He did catch some fish today, so we'll see. But one other note. There is another tie. 4-way. Yeah. Honestly, 2 of the people matter. I'm not going to, we're not going to beat around the bush here. Derek Artioli from Three Bells. Joe Brown. Who the fuck is Joe Brown? Who the fuck is Joe Brown? Robert Prosciutto and Dylan Barber all have 5 points. Why does this matter, you ask? Because there's a side bet that involves a Limp Bizkit Rules t-shirt and Bobby Roast Beef's trivia night and some free lures for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. Giveaway for somebody's going to win these things. I can't lose this.
How can we wrap? I mean, I know the bet is you and Derek, but how can I somehow get some of Sarah Pendergrass sauce out of this bet?
Yeah, we should just crowbar that right in there, too.
That's it. So if Bobby wins, I get sauce. And if Derek wins, I get sauce.
I like the way you think. That's an interesting tactic, Cotton. Let's see how it's going to play out.
I'm getting that line a lot lately. I have some great ideas and possibly some great diagrams on topo maps. Wait till you guys see that. And yes, you know what I did. I'm an 8%er.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm an 8%er. Yeah. That's all I got, man. That's our Jigs and Bigs midweek for week 2. We got a couple more days. I'll post it up on the old gram. As far as Chronic Trips goes too, Seth has been, I don't know, what would you say? Off the grid, I guess. He is back. Prizes from the August will be going out this week.
Yeah. He's on it.
Yeah.
He's on it.
He's on top of shit. That is my report, and I want to go eat more roast beef.
Go for it, man. I'm going to wrap things up, guys. This show was amazing. We had a great time. I hope all of you guys had a great time. Lake Champlain is amazing, and I want to do this more regularly. So this is going to have to happen. Want to give, again, to our hosts this week that have been super hospitable to us. Want to thank Ian Molinowskis from Bass Cabin 189. Go follow Bass Cabin 189 on Instagram. Check them out right now. And like I said, we're going to be sharing the link for the VRBO listing. If you guys want to take a trip to Champlain, I mean, if you want to get up here and ice fish in the winter or something like that, well, I think this is a 3 season. So, you want to make your plans for spring, something like that, come up here. Book some time. It is great. You're going to love it. You're right on the water. Behind these windows right here, we had to wait. Well, obviously, we record at night most times anyway, but the windows with the sun going down, just crazy glare. But you're on the water right here. There's a dock right here. Like, you're on it. You've got boat access all over the place. It's just fantastic. It's a great spot. You can easily sleep a crew of 3 or 4 people with no problem, even more, actually, if you move some stuff around. So it's awesome. You should definitely look into it. Also want to throw a big shout out to Dave Morissette over at the Anchorage. Thank you, Dave, for hooking us up with a pontoon rental so we could go out for some shenanigans and throw some lures around in with the wind as opposed to against the wind. It was a little adventure. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. And I mean, at least Nelson caught something. It wasn't,
God.
you know what I mean? That would have just been bananas if that was the case. But the wind, I mean, we could nominate the wind for the FTG segment, but let's face it. I mean, the wind is don't sleep on the wind. The wind will help you out.
The wind's my boy.
Yeah, the wind. It's one of these things where you have to learn to love the wind.
Yes.
And it's all good. I still am amazed that bass boat is in one piece after the journey that my father and I took on that. Wow. It was intense. And I can't, my hat's off to every single competitor in the EKF championship that happened here, because I don't want to brush over the fact that it was treacherous. You guys risked a lot getting out there. Like, congratulations to everybody who competed. And again, Jason, amazing. Like, we're fully aware that it was intense for you. Maybe I'd like to actually have Jason on to talk about the whole story and everything. That'd be fantastic. So
I'll see what I can do.
yeah, I'm gonna have to shoot him a message and see what we can make happen. But
And before you close out this show,
yes,
with your patented tight lines from all of us involved, man,
yeah,
from Old Glory, 3 Bells, Stretching Lines, Hookset Hoodlums. Wow, that choked on Hookset Hoodlums. Bill's gonna punch me right in the groin. All of the crew on the all of the crew on the fishing report, Chronic Trips, everybody's involved. Happy birthday, Bobby Roast Beef.
thank you, man. I appreciate it. This is the best birthday ever. I had a blast. So much more great stuff to come, guys. We will see you guys in 7 days. Tight line.